What up? What up? Welcome to the Continual Growth Podcast, where we help you kill every day and own your fucking life. I'm Bawanka. It's episode 29. I'm with Z, and you know what it's time for. It's time to bring that hot fire. Yo, Z, how you feeling today?
I'm good, bro. I'm good. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing incredible. This episode's about to be incredible, and we got a special guest today.
That's right. Let me give the people a quick intro into our special guest today. So this is someone that we've known for quite some time. Been around for probably 3 or 4 years. I'm trying to not say that she's a female to avoid it, but she's a female. She's our first female guest on the podcast. I'm excited about that because we've been talking about getting a female on here for a while. And it just so happens that she's one of our homies. So, Jenna, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
This is going to be dope. So, I know we go back quite a way. People listening right now are like, who the fuck is Jenna? So, maybe you want to give them a little backstory on who you are, and then we'll get into some of the deep questions.
All right. So, I own a cake business. I'm a food scientist. I'm an aspiring YouTube star.
Yes.
And yeah, that's me.
Cool. And I think you're shortchanging that just a little bit. She's more than all those things, but she's also an incredible cook. We've taxed her with, when we used to live together, we used to be like, we need those special Jennacakes.
Jennacakes.
Right. And these are like this, I guess I'll let the food scientist describe it. Yeah. Because I won't do it
they
justice.
were chocolate chip cookie lava cakes.
Can you tell people what that means?
So I think you sent me a photo or something, or a website of we got these things once from Domino's and they were fucking sick and they don't have them anymore. Can you recreate it? So I did 4 or 5 versions and we found the perfect one.
Yeah.
And that's a good example of what a food scientist does.
I love it.
Keep doing trials until you get it the way you want it.
It's actually a beautiful metaphor for progress in general, because when we first sent it over to you as hey, this is pretty good, and you sent back the first version, I remember I thought it was okay. It wasn't the best, but I remember Walker being like, she can do better.
Yeah, we ate it. We're like, it's good.
You gave it a 4 out of 10.
The Domino's one was just as good. So we're remember we told you, we're yo, we have a problem with this. We got a problem with this. And next time you came back and it was way better.
Yeah.
And then you brought another one after that and it was even better.
Yeah.
And we're like, holy shit. And that's how Jennacake, we put a stamp on that
shit.
Yeah,
100%. 100%. So what I'll do now is kind of take us back to probably about a year ago. So to give people a little bit of context, we actually met you when we were involved in a previous business. We were involved in a gym business, and we met you there initially as a client, and then we built up a relationship, ended up becoming homies. And about a year ago, you went through a brutal situation.
Yeah.
It happens to a lot of young adults. Why don't you tell us kind of what happened and how that kind of gave you the fire and the trigger to take control?
All right, yeah. So at the end of last year, around Christmas time, I was going through a pretty devastating breakup. So not to get into too much detail about that, but it was really rough. I was pretty fucked up over it.
Yeah, because I remember when you brought him around, you had introduced, we had met him and we thought he was good. We thought you guys were rocking and rolling, but life happens.
Yeah, so shit happens. Didn't work out. But that was at the end of the year. So I went into New Year's feeling like shit. I was feeling like a sack of shit. Literally midnight when everyone's counting down New Year's, I was curled up in a ball crying.
So this is a year and a half ago, right? Or this
is
7 months ago.
Yeah, 7 months ago. Yeah,
it's less than a year. Yeah. Okay, cool.
So I started 2018 in a pretty shitty place. I was not feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
So I let I got through it, kind of just let myself feel it. And then after a month, I'm fuck this. This isn't me. I'm not going to mope around. I'm not going to just feel like shit. I got to do something. So that's kind of when I started to make changes. And
so you're at this stage where you were like, you know what? I need to make, so you made a choice. You said enough is enough.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people forget that's you need that.
Yeah.
Especially when you're going through some fucked up shit. Yeah. You need that feeling of yo, I'm done with this.
Well, there's actually something that you said to me that really helped me. Because, I have a lot of amazing friends, and I call them, and they come over, and they, bring me my wine and my chocolate and stuff and try to make me feel better, which is great. I really appreciate that. But after a little while of that, I'm I need some tough love. So who do I call? You, of course. So I remember something you said to me. It was I don't want to like, get through it, do what you need to do, but I don't want to call you in 3 weeks and you're still like sitting there suffering. Like that's not the Jenna I know.
Fuck yeah.
So,
Fuck yeah. I don't remember saying that, but that is something I would say. Yeah. So I love that. That's awesome.
At this time, how was your cake business?
Well, it was like a slow time. So the cake business is really something that distracts me and helps me and kind of calms me. So at that time, I didn't really have much business. So I didn't really have that going on.
So you had a double whammy. You're going through a breakup, plus you don't have anything to distract you and keep you busy.
I just moved, it was
Okay. Triple whammy.
Yeah.
Triple whammy.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're at this stage. So take me back to that point where, you've cried all you could cry and you've kind of processed what happened. Take me back to that like first day when you were like, all right, I am going to start doing X, right? What was X? Well, how did you, like, what were the things that you did to pull yourself out of it?
Well, the first thing that happened is that I had a flight booked to London to go see him. Mm-hmm. And, like, I already had that booked. I was already paid for. So the first thing I was like, fuck, I got to do something about that. Like, I'm obviously not going. I paid, like, $1,000 for this flight. So I called, like, Air Canada and I talked to this guy. And, my homie, his name's Kevin. And he helped me so much. So I talked to him. Yeah, Kevin hooked it up. Canada? So I like literally told him this story. I cried to him on the phone. I was like, I need to cancel this flight. Like, I don't want to, like, I spent all my money on it and I don't want to go now. And I told him what happened. And he's just like, okay, hold on. So he comes back and he's like, yeah, I can hook something up for you. I can refund you fully. But like, have you been to like Europe before? I'm like, not really, no. And he's like, all right, is there anywhere else in Europe you want to go? And I'm like, you know what? Yeah. Like, I've always wanted to go to Paris. And he's like, okay, hold on. Then he comes back and like, he's like, yeah, I can get you to Paris, same price. You don't have to pay anything extra.
Amazing.
And I was like, all right, I already got the time booked off work. And then I went.
So you went to Paris solo?
Solo.
First time traveling solo?
No, I've traveled solo before. I've never really been to Europe before. And that's something I've always wanted to do. So that kind of triggered, okay, now I'm going to do all these things that I've always said I'm going to do and that I've never actually followed through on. So that's something I've been saying for years. Like, I was going to do that.
So you started taking care of yourself. You're like, I'm gonna do me.
Exactly.
That was the trigger. Sick.
I like that.
Yeah, so I took that trip and then there it really got me thinking. I was feeling good on that trip. I was feeling like, I was appreciating myself again. I was like, this is fucking dope. I can just like go around Paris. And I ended up traveling around Europe a little bit after that too.
Cool.
Like by myself. And I was like, this is cool. Like, it made me feel confident again. And so it really got me thinking. And then I started thinking about all the things that I want to do that I just haven't followed through on and haven't done when I'm totally incapable of doing them.
Yeah. So sometimes you got to do that, man. You need to, when something happens that it could be any sort of tragedy or heartbreak or anything like that, it's really good to pull yourself out of the situation for, even if it's for a week, 10 days, doesn't matter what it is. But when you get yourself out of the situation, you can start to be like, all right, cool. I am not this breakup. I am not this suffering. I'm a wicked person, and I'm going to make myself even more wicked. Because you got to come out of the situation and be able to look at it and look back at that whole time and be like, all right, this was fucked. Process it, and then you say, okay, cool. What am I going back to? So now you're in Europe, right? You're coming back. Were you excited to come home?
Yeah.
Okay.
So just being there by myself made me appreciate all the things I have back here. Okay. So I have this business that's doing well. I have amazing friends, family, like people supporting me.
Right.
And I have all these opportunities that I just haven't really been taking. So I was excited. I was so hyped to come back. I'm like making a list. I brought like a travel journal.
Nice.
In that journal, I still have it, like a list of all these things. This is what I'm going to do when I get back. I'm going to start like doing all this shit.
Wicked.
Yeah.
Wicked.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've got a list of things now.
Well, give us some of the things that you.
I was just gonna ask, what's on the list?
Okay, so first thing I've been saying for so long, I want to start a YouTube channel.
How long?
Like 5-6 years.
Damn, 6 years. Okay.
And so I started like writing down ideas for it, and then as soon as I got back, like March, I started like filming them and making them myself.
Fuck yeah! Yeah,
that's
amazing.
It's so much fun. I love it so much.
Awesome. Yeah. Give us another one. What else is on that list?
Just like working on my business. So I've been really working on like my Instagram and kind of like taking photos and promoting my business more. So that's
on the branding side. You've been doing a lot more on that.
How's business?
Booming. So
that's
yeah,
awesome.
It's been like crazy busy. I'm like booked solid now, and I get a lot of requests. I'm turning down people now. So that's something.
So you're obviously an incredibly busy person.
Yes.
Right. When you're that busy, and you want to improve yourself, right? Is there anything that you've done to try to set yourself up for success? Like, I know we've always talked about getting up earlier, right? Is that something that you started to do, or like, were you always a morning person, or
no, not really?
Was it like you came back and you're like, yo, I'm waking up early, I'm doing this, I'm doing all the things that I wrote down, I'm giving 100% to it no matter what?
Exactly. So I was so motivated. So as soon as I got back, I started like joining you guys and waking up at 5 a.m.
The 5 a.m. club.
5 a.m. club, really sick. Hey. So I get like tons of stuff done in the morning.
Nice.
Because I still have, like, on top of the business that I run, I still have a full-time job.
So so you're before you went to Europe, what time would you normally wake up?
Like 7:30.
And now you come back from Europe and you're waking up at 5.
Yeah.
5-ish.
Yeah.
So that's 2.5 hours that you gained.
Yeah.
And in that 2.5 hours, what did you do with it? Because I'm curious to know how you went from, because like, I remember for me, when I started waking up a little earlier, I would go like maybe 30 minutes earlier, maybe an hour. She's gaining 2.5.
Boom.
Right?
Yeah.
Did you feel like, yo, I got time? You know what I mean? And then what did you fill that up with? Like that morning, because we're so big on the morning routine, I'm curious to know what your morning routine looks like.
Well, one of the things on my list also that I wanted to do was get back into running. So I used to really love running, and I just stopped doing it because I had a goal. I ran a marathon, and then I was just like, fuck this, I'm done.
Yeah, you used to do races like every weekend.
Yeah, but then I remembered how much I used to love that, and I don't know why I stopped. So first thing I did when I wake up is go for a run. Just like a short run, like half an hour. Just like any sort of cardio. Yeah.
Like, so a lot of people, they'll be like, I'll go for like a 10-minute run, just a quick run. 30 minutes, short, light work. Yeah, I like that.
So did you always run in the morning, or you just were like, I'm going to start running in the morning, get me going?
Well, when I was really into running, I used to run every morning.
And that's when you felt best?
Yes.
Okay, sick.
So that's how I start the day, always. Or if it's like winter, I don't feel like going outside, I'll do some sort of cardio, treadmill, bike, whatever. But like always start my day like that.
What do you feel, what's the difference between when you start your day out by like running in the morning compared to when you run in the evening or like working out in the evening? Like, how do you feel throughout the day?
I feel like I have way more energy throughout the day if I start my day by like exercising.
It's crazy.
Isn't that weird?
Because you think like you become tired from it, but it actually gives you energy throughout the day.
It's weird because I remember when I first started working out, like I had one friend I think that used to work out in the mornings, and I thought he was a fucking animal. Yeah. Like, you work out in the morning? What? That's crazy. I used
to think morning workouts were like nuts. Like the only time you would do it is if you had to like basketball practice.
Yeah. And then now to think about, like, I think we all work out in the mornings now, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I've noticed a tremendous difference because at the start of my day, that's when I have the most energy, right? So my workouts, like, I feel like I have more energy to give out to the workout. Like when you work an entire day and then try to go to the gym at like 6 or 7 o'clock, it's tough.
Yeah.
Your energy level isn't there. You're like, don't want to do this. You want to go home. Like, it's the evening. But like, to me, I've noticed a big difference. Would you recommend that people make movement in the mornings a priority?
Of course, yeah. I just feel so good after I do it.
And another thing with that too, like, it's the only hard part about the morning workout is like when you're laying in bed, your alarm goes off and you're like, I gotta go work out. That's the hard part. Once you leave your house, you lock your door and you're out, it's easy from there.
Yeah, for sure.
The only hard part is just getting out of the house. So if you can do that, you're good.
Yeah, for sure. So you now are in this mindset of really kicking ass in the morning, and you're setting yourself up for success. Would you say that this new mindset that you have, has it had an impact on your life? Like, because like you said earlier, like you went 6 years wanting to create a YouTube video and you just didn't do it for 100 reasons, I'm sure, right? And now you're in this mindset of like, I'm getting up at 5, I'm going for a run in the mornings, I'm getting my workout in, I'm doing my morning routine. Would you be of the opinion that like that mindset has had an impact on your life?
A huge impact, but not only myself, the people around me.
Oh, tell us more. Tell us more.
I started, I never really like posted a lot of stuff on my social media, like personal stuff, but I started to kind of post like Instagram stories, like this is what I'm doing. So I did the 21 where I made breakfast every day, and like people were loving that shit. And they send me messages saying how it's inspiring them, and
that's awesome.
They want to do that. And now lately I've been posting every day when I go to the gym every day, because I go after work too. I do like strength training.
You do a double up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I send or I put a selfie on my Instagram story of me at the gym. It's just like me sitting at the gym, but it's showing that I'm there.
Yeah.
And then like people started asking me like, why do you do that? So I made a post saying, this is why I do it. I'm just showing like even a busy person like me can find time to work out every day for an hour.
That's amazing.
And like I got a huge response from that. So it's just like all the people in my life, my friends, my family, they were telling me like I'm inspiring them because I'm taking action and doing all these things, and they know if I can do it and they think I'm someone who doesn't have any time to do stuff like that, then they can do it too. So
isn't it funny how that works? Like you start to put forth effort towards like your vision of your best life, whatever it looks like. You create some goals, identify what work needs to get done. You go do that work, you're consistent with it. And then because you're consistent with it, other people feed off of that.
Yeah.
Right? Because you know what a lot of people get into the mindset of sometimes when we look on Instagram and we see like all these fitness personalities and all that kind of stuff, sometimes we'll look at that and be like, that's easy for that person. That's you've been doing it. It's normal for you, right? But when our friends and people close to us and people we're connected to on Instagram, when they see like people who don't like loudly say, hey, I love working out. This is easy for me. Why the fuck don't you work out? But you're going out and doing it now. It's like people feed off that.
Yeah.
It's a good feeling, right? Like to me, I always get a kick out of like when I serve myself and I share that I'm doing that, people kind of are like, yo, if in my case, if he's doing it, I can do it. Or if she's doing it, I can do it. You know what I mean?
It's way easier to relate to someone that you know, someone that you've seen like, yo, this
like
person's
a
the same
real
as
person,
me.
but yeah.
Someone that you know, because like you said, like on Instagram, sometimes we lose the fact that this is a person that has a life, that's doing all this work, right? Because on Instagram, we see people's highlight reel, and we're like, oh, they look so good in the gym. I never look like that. They look like they know what they're doing in the gym. I have no fucking clue. And it's like, no, just start.
Yeah.
Just get out there, right?
Okay.
Wicked.
So you have a cake business and you work a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
How do you find the time to work on the cake business?
Well, it's pretty much takes up a lot of my spare time, mostly all of my spare time. So I work like all day at my job, and then I'll go straight. I have like a bakery space that I work out of.
Yeah.
So I'll go straight there after work. So sometimes
Hustler.
I'm like there till like 10, 11 p.m.
Nice.
But the thing is, like, I love to do it. I love making cakes. It makes me happy. Mm-hmm. So I don't mind doing that. Like, after a long day, I'm not like, oh, fuck, I gotta go make fucking cakes. I'm like, yes, I'm so excited. I get to go make cakes all night.
Right, because you enjoy it, right?
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. So
what do you say to people that, like, I think as fellow entrepreneurs, we get it, right? Yeah. That hustler mindset, maximizing the day. What would you say to people that say shit like, I don't have time?
I hate when people say that.
Tell us more.
I hate when people say that. If you really want to do something, you will find the time. Mm-hmm. I find the time to do all these things.
Agreed.
So
do you think that there's any tips that you could share for people to get over that? Because it's at the end of the day, like to me, I think it's just a mindset. It's really just a flip of the switch. But I'm built like that. So to me, it might come a little easier.
Yeah.
Is there any tips that you have for people that want to overcome this like negative, limited mindset of like, I don't have time?
Yeah. Well, I didn't used to be a very organized person. So I used to be all over the place. So what I found has really helped me is writing stuff down. So writing down all the things I have to do. And then I like actually look at it, physically look at it and be like, okay, and kind of prioritize. And that's helped me a lot to just organize my time.
So you got like a journal that you use every day?
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy how
you got the GSD in there?
The get shit done list? Yeah. So for people that are listening that might not know what we're talking about when we talk about GSD, we covered this on a previous episode, but it's really just creating a list of 3 critical tasks. You get those 3 critical tasks done, you won the day. And GSD, for people that don't know, stands for get shit done. And
the point of it is to cut procrastination. We call it the procrastination killer.
I love that. So, busy woman, entrepreneur, like it's impressive to me because to me, I don't often think about it in terms of like male, female, but I recognize how much harder it must be for a woman to do a lot of things that a man does, right? Like getting ready for work in the morning.
Yeah.
A lot of guys just fucking put their shirt, like shower, put their shirt on and walk out the door, right? But you got to put on makeup. You got to do your...
Got to put on your eyebrows.
You got to put on your eyebrows. You got to do what females do to make themselves feel like confident and they can attack their day. What advice would you give to other female listeners out there? Because we've had, like, the previous episodes has been me and Blanca going back and forth, and we've had some male guests on the show.
Yeah.
And for guys to relate to guys, it's easy. But we've got some female listeners, and I would love to hear from from you, what you would tell them? Like people that are sitting in a situation right now where they want to take action, they've maybe built one habit, maybe two, but they're not as consistent as they could be. What would you say to them?
Well, I think the first, like, this is stuff I say to my female friends a lot that are asking me for advice, is just, like, find what you're happy with about yourself first and just kind of build off of that. So
what do you mean by that? Can you take me, like, deeper in that?
So I'll just use myself as an example. So when I was feeling shitty, I'm like, okay, what are the things that I like about myself or that I feel happy about myself that I can build on? So first thing, I've got this talent for like making cakes and stuff and for making food. So I'm going to see.
Fuck that. I wouldn't say it's talent. Talent makes it sound like you were born with it. You weren't born with it. This is a skill that you've built. Like, give yourself some credit. Yeah. You know what I mean?
But it's something that I'm confident about. So like, I think being confident in those things is really important because a lot of people aren't. Like, if someone compliments you, like I have a lot of friends that someone compliments them, they're like, oh no. Like if they say like, I like your shirt. Yeah, I like your shirt. They'll be like, oh no, it's okay, I guess.
Like they'll downplay
it.
Yeah.
So like, I like your shirt. Be like, yeah, fucking thanks. It's sick. Like I love it. So just so when people compliment something about you, I think it's really important to be accepted and be like, yeah, like there's a reason why someone's saying that. And just kind of like build on those positive things.
I like that. I think
like we're living in a really negative kind of world.
Yeah, it sounds like you're happy about yourself and you're happy about the people you're around.
Yeah. And so on that note,
you said that we live in a negative world.
Yeah.
I often look at the world and see how people see the world.
Yeah.
And I feel the same way.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know what you mean by that.
Well,
like when you say that these people see the world in a negative way.
People are always just trying to like push their negativity on you, and it's something you kind of have to fight off.
It's true.
And I find like a lot of people are also just always comparing themselves to other people, especially women. That's another thing. So another piece of advice: don't compare yourself to other people. It's so hard. Like I do it too, but like
it's natural, right? Like it's gonna happen because our brains are hardwired to assess the situation.
Yeah.
Right. So you're gonna naturally look at. If you're encountering a new person or whatever the case might be, you're going to make judgments about it. But I think it's important to know, like you said, that like talk to yourself in those situations. Like if you find somebody, like if you compare, you're always going to find somebody that's super worse off than you, but you're always going to find somebody that's doing better. Always. Mm-hmm. That comparison isn't fair.
Yeah.
Because they have gone through different things in life. They've been through different experiences, all that, right? So it's just not fair to compare two different lives to each other. It's just not fair.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay, so you've had a 21s board for a while now. You've been building some habits. What would you say is your favorite habit or like your most useful habit that you've built?
Well, waking up at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
I talked about that. That was one that I had.
Was it hard?
Yes.
Okay.
Really hard at first.
Yeah.
And like I didn't do it the way you said, like in increments. Like I was like, all right, I'm waking up at 5 a.m.
But you were motivated as hell.
Yeah.
Did you fall off when you started? Like when you first made the decision to wake up at 5, was there ever any days where you didn't wake up at 5 and you felt like shit about it, or you said, "Oh,
I mean, there were a few times. There were a few times. Like I think I erased my board like 4 or 5 times before I like completed the 21.
I love that
you got there.
I love that.
Yeah.
Because it's a process, right? Like we were talking about with the Jennacakes, right?
Yeah.
The first version, the first time, it's going to be tough. It's probably not going to be the best, right? But every time you continue to get back on, keep doing the work, you'll get there. And now, like, would you say that waking up at 5 is like pretty easy for you?
Yeah. I wake up at 5 on weekends and I don't even set my alarm. I'm just up and I'm like, I'm ready to do shit.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay. You got any more questions, brother?
Okay. If someone was going to order something from you, what would you say? What would you tell them is like the best one, the specialty? Like just hit them with a little something about like your number one cake or goodie or whatever you got.
That's tough.
Because you make a lot of good ones. Like if you guys like, we'll go over the Instagram later, but it's Jennacake. Go check out. Like you like your cakes are so sick. They taste good.
Thank you.
And you do your what's it called? The ones that like a lollipop.
Cake pops.
Cake pops. I love those cake pops.
Yeah, those are good. I think, well, my favorite thing to make and that I think people find really impressive is like the decorated cookies. So I do like custom stuff. Mm-hmm. So like, yo, can you make me a cookie that looks like a basketball or something? And I'll just like make it.
You can make cookies that look like anything, right?
Yeah. So. And I have like an edible image printer so I can put logos on it. Like I've been doing some corporate events and stuff like that. So that's something I really like doing.
You can put pictures of people. You can put whatever.
Yeah.
I love that.
You can put your face on it. I think I made a cake with your face on it before.
Yeah, maybe a couple of years ago. So when you're thinking about and I'm big on mindset. I think we all are, but I'm really big on mindset. And you're in a situation now where you've kind of changed how you view life, changed how you live your life. You've taken ownership. Is there anything that you would have said to yourself like 10 years ago? So I was on a panel. The reason why I'm asking is I was on a panel and they asked me, what would you say to yourself maybe 10 or 15 years ago? And at the time I answered it, and I've thought about it more, and I've got some different ideas. But is there anything that you would have said to yourself maybe 10 or 15 years ago that would have really helped you kind of make the last 10 years a little bit more productive, more effective? Like just, it could be anything, right? Like, because man, 15 years ago, we didn't know shit, right? But now we've lived, we've gone through some stuff. So is there anything that you would share with yourself if you could somehow talk to yourself maybe 10, 15 years ago?
Yeah, like just put it simple, I would say like you're gonna get there. Because I used to be the kind of person that would just start something and I'd give up so fast if it wasn't going my way or if it wasn't working out. So if I could have seen where I was now and all the progress I've made, like that would have helped me a lot. So just saying like you're gonna get there, it's gonna happen.
So like even though like doesn't matter what's happening, shit's gonna get tough, doesn't matter, just keep working through it.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing.
Yeah, I mean if you got a vision for where you want to go, right? And you know like this is the work I need to do. Because like you said, you're a food scientist. That means you went to school for food science, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
Right. So like, you know, like I don't know how to say it, like the breakdown of food, right?
Yeah, like the chemical reactions, composition, yeah.
Right. So for you to be in the situation you're in now, I mean, 15 years ago, you probably would have known that like, I need to go to school for this.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
And you went and got that degree and then you powered through a bunch of corporate careers and different stuff. And now you're in a situation where you're like, yo, you're going to get there. I love the idea of knowing you're going to get there because I think sometimes, man, life punches you in the fucking mouth. Mm-hmm. And when life punches you in the mouth, you start to question everything. You're like, is this worth it? Did I do the right amount of work? Is there any point to this? Where am I going to go next? But to hear your story of where you went from like a really tragic heartbreak to going to Europe, experiencing that, something that you wanted to do for a long time, and then coming back and having this like renewed mindset, renewed focus on yourself, is like, I've seen a change. Like knowing you for as long as I'm acting like it's 10 years, but it's been like 3 or 4 years, right?
Yeah.
I've seen a change. Like you used to be very timid, very quiet, very fucking keep to yourself, hide in the corner. And now like you're cakes. You know what I mean? Like you've got a smile to you. You've got like this energy to you, this bubbly energy. And it's beautiful to see the changes that you've made and to know that it came about from a situation that sucked. But at the end of the day, you had to make a choice. Because you could have sat in it. You could have sat it for fucking months on end and been like, why me? Life sucks. Fuck this and that. But you just said, no. This isn't me.
And I think that's even what people expected of me in that situation too, right?
Interesting. Yeah. Because, I mean, you're going to only go by people's previous history, right?
Yeah.
And if in the past they might have acted that way or something similar, you kind of know what you're going to get. But maybe that's why so many people have noticed, right? I mean, you said earlier, like a lot of your friends have noticed some changes in you and stuff. Can you talk a little bit about that? Like, what are they saying? Like, I would love to know what people have noticed.
They're just like, you just seem amazing. Like, I can't believe you're living your best life. Like, people use those words.
What I notice is like you're way happier and you're finding like good in everything.
I used to be like kind of negative. Like, I would always put a negative spin on things.
Like what? Like, because I know there's people listening right now that might not be aware of some of the negative shit they say to themselves. But is there something that you used to say to yourself that you no longer say?
Well, I just used to get so like flustered. If I had like a full schedule for the day, like I'd be like, fuck, I have so much shit to do. There's not enough time in the day. I hate this. But now I'm like, yes, like it's amazing I have all this stuff to do. You know, like it's...
Isn't it crazy that it's just a change of perspective?
Yeah.
Right? And
completely.
Like, what's different though? Like you used to tell yourself really shitty stories and really have a negative mindset, and now you have a different perspective. Same situation.
Yeah.
Massive workload. Fuck it. Now you're like, yes, I got shit to do.
Yeah.
Is it just a matter of choice, or did you just kind of decide to look at it differently? Like
how I just started looking at it differently. Like I'm seeing all the opportunities I have and all this stuff I have to do is like
it's to help you. It helps you move forward.
Yeah, it's good. It's amazing that I have all these opportunities to...
That's awesome.
Like, if I have, like, a full day of orders, that's amazing. Like, I never thought
it's a gift, right? Like if you think about it, right? And I think gratitude plays a big role in helping shape your perspective. Have you made gratitude something that you're more aware of in your life?
Yes, definitely.
Do you use any tools or systems or anything?
I have a journal. So
nice.
I've been writing. So I started off by writing affirmations, which was another one of my 21s. So every day I would write 3 positive affirmations.
I love it.
So I started writing, like stuff that I'm grateful for too.
Amazing. And have you noticed a change?
Yeah. Like, you just appreciate.
Isn't it fucked when you write shit down that shit changes?
Yeah. I never used to write stuff down. I never thought I would be a person who had a journal. I was like, oh, that's stupid.
Didn't you think it was corny? I thought it was corny.
I thought it was super corny.
Yeah.
But I write everything down now.
Yeah.
I write so much, and it's
And I don't know if you're Blanca's got 7 journals. He leaves one here at the office, one at the house, one in this bag.
I got a little GSD book, a little journal. I got a backup journal.
Yeah. Even if I hear a quote or something that I think is cool, I write it down, and then I see it later, and it's
awesome.
Yeah.
What are some people that you look to for influence? Because everybody's influenced by different people, right?
Yeah.
Is there anybody that you look to, or any famous person, or somebody that the audience might be like, oh, I know that person? Is there anybody you look up to?
Famous people, not really.
Okay.
It's more just the people in my life who have shaped who I am. So
cool.
Big influence in my life was my grandmother.
Okay.
She's the one who got me loving food. She's Italian, so all about the food. So that's how I really got into that. In the
Did you used
place.
to cook with her when you were younger?
Yeah. She taught me how to cook. I lived with her for a lot of my childhood. So
cool.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
A lot of the times that's who I'm thinking about when I'm doing stuff. I even got a tattoo in Italian that says "Vivi con passione."
What does that mean?
Live with passion in Italian. Oh. So that's kind of a dedication to her, because she was the one who kind of got me into that mindset of following what I'm passionate about, even if it doesn't seem like a regular path.
Sounds like
being
a
smart at
woman.
science in school. My parents were you have to study science, you have to go to university and do this, and I did, but I never thought it would lead me to a career in food, right? Which is what I really wanted to do in the first place.
So your parents were pushing you into the sciences, right? But you had this love for food, So you just
I never thought I could connect it, but I knew that's what I'm passionate about, so that's what I always think about.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I also never thought I'd get a tattoo, but I think those are just words that are so strong, and
that's amazing.
Me, so.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. Cool.
Yeah.
So we're coming towards the end of the podcast, and we always love to ask our guests for some wisdom.
Okay.
Right? Just some, and it could be simple. It could be fucking overarching. It could be, doesn't matter, right? But what are some things that you could say that there's people listening right now, right? Which is amazing, by the way. Shout out to all the listeners. I love that people listen to our podcast.
Hey, what up?
So there's people listening right now. They've heard about 33 minutes of us kind of going back and forth. Give us some wisdom. What could you tell people that might help them to follow a similar path?
Well, the biggest lesson for me has been the way that I define success. So
interesting.
I used to always define it in the way that I think other people would expect. So, you have this many degrees, you have a master's degree, you make this much money, you have this job,
But what society tells us.
Yeah, that's what society tells us is a successful person. And I thought that for a long time, too.
I did too.
It's only recently that I realized, okay, how do I define my own success? Well, it's I'm doing the things that make me happy. I like the job that I'm in. It makes me happy. I've got amazing friends. That makes me happy. I'm doing this YouTube channel, not making any money or anything from it.
But it's
kind of silly, but I'm having so much fun. I'm happy. And that's how I feel now that I'm successful. I have a good job. I have all that crap. But the main thing is how I feel and how I'm influenced the people around me.
I love that.
Just hearing people say that I'm inspiring them to do things that makes me feel successful. Not that I make X amount of money or whatever.
Right. I love that. It's crazy because I had the same view. I used to think that you had to have degrees and you had to have a certain job title and make X amount of money per year and all that other bullshit. And it's wild to me that now that I've come to a point where, like you said, you have to decide what success means to you, right? And if you decide what that looks like and you're living that, that's a beautiful feeling, right? And there might be a gap, right? And as there should be. And in that gap, you see, okay, I got to do X, Y, Z. Here's a little bit of work I need to do. Start a YouTube page, shit like that, right? But it comes to a point where you're kind of like, yo, my definition of success is what I'm striving for, and hopefully at one point living. And like you said, you're going to get there.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay, so real quick, your YouTube page, what are you doing on your YouTube page?
My YouTube page is called The Baking Lab.
Lab?
The Baking Lab.
Okay.
So,
One word?
The Baking Lab, yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's under Jennacake.
Okay,
and
Jennacake.
then the channel is called The Baking Lab. So I kind of just like bake stuff and then explain the science going on behind it. Because I find like my friends are always asking me when I was baking stuff, because they know I'm a food scientist. They're like, yo, what's like the science? Like they found it so fascinating. And I love explaining stuff. I love when people ask me questions like that. I go on and on. So that's what the YouTube channel is about. Every episode I bake something different and I explain like the chemical reactions and the science behind it.
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
If someone's going to watch, what episode should they start with?
Oh, I guess pretzel power.
Pretzel power. Okay.
Yeah, that's
pretzel
episode
power.
1, pretzel power.
Okay.
Awesome. Where else could people find you? Other than the YouTube, where else could people find you or connect with you?
Instagram, Jennacake.
Okay.
Yeah, jennacake.com.
Jennacake.com. So
Yeah.
I'll spell that for people. That's JENNACAKE.com.
Yep.
And the Instagram is just Jennacake.
Yep.
Cool. Wicked episode, man.
Yeah, it was really good.
I knew it would be fun to have like just any female on, but it's wicked that we had the homie on as for the first one. Jenna, thank you for coming on. It really means a lot to us to gain a little bit of insight into your little mini journey over the last 7-8 months and seeing how it's gone from something really, really tragic and shitty to, like you said, like you feel it, people have noticed, you're living your best life. And that's amazing to me.
And it's incredible to hear like you're using the 21s board and you're building all these habits and your life is just changing right in front of your eyes. It's amazing.
And that's what I was going to say too, like, you know, from our perspective, like we know all the people that have gotten orders and picked up a board and built some habits. And I honestly, it feels incredible to me when people tell me this is an amazing tool. Mm-hmm. Like I never knew that I could build consistency. I never knew that if I had just had a tool that helped me kind of get there, the impact it would have. And like, we started this company at the end of the day to see this type of impact.
Oh yeah.
And to see that in like our close friends, someone like you, and then for you to come onto the podcast, like, I love it.
And I loved telling people about like the 21s and stuff like that. And I make sure to tell everyone it's not because they're my friends. It's because I actually like really believe in what they're doing. Like,
I love that.
It's helped me a lot.
I love that. That means a lot because honestly, like you said, like there are, you know, we've got some people that support us because they're our friends, but we've got lots of people that we don't even fucking know that have picked up some of our tools and listened to the podcast. And now I'm hoping that they get some insight into like, okay, so it's not just a bunch of dudes. You know what I mean? As a woman, I can build healthy habits too. Yeah, of course you can. Fuck yeah, you can.
It's for everyone.
You know what I mean? Cool. So I think I'm going to do a quick little housekeeping and then we'll wrap it up. Mm-hmm. So, guys, it would mean a lot to us if you would do a couple of things for us. If you found value from this podcast or any of the other episodes, it would mean a lot to us if you would do a couple of things for us. First thing, subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already and leave a comment. And the second thing I think is probably more important than that is, like Jennacake's just mentioned, tell a friend. Let them know that there's a community of people that have understood that the way that they have lived their life up until this point isn't working. And they've understood that if they take action and take complete ownership, decide on some goals, recognize what work needs to get done, and then get that fucking work done, you can live your best life. And at the end of the day, like we always say, the whole point of this and what we always like to tell everybody, kill every day and own your fucking life.
Bless up.